This podcast is kindly supported by our friends at Acre Pharmacy, one of the key aesthetic pharmacies leading the way in responsible supply.
We all talk about aesthetics and wanting the industry to evolve, to get better, always have best practice in mind, patient safety in mind. Obviously, our bold statements, our marketing statements are obviously commercially incentivized or guided in some way. So, as a team, we talk about inspiring and encouraging practitioners to ask questions, to be autonomous and confident to make their own decisions, that they are well considered and not just because someone told them to do it or I'm going to use this product because I have done my research and I feel confident to do that. So that kind of extends, doesn't it, to the partners or the people we work with.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Definitely, 100%.
So if we are talking about where to buy our products from, then how does that autonomy or how does that independence in choice, how can that be restricted depending on where we're buying our products from?
So you're kind of leading towards if a place has a manufacturer relationship, maybe they don't always offer everything because they prefer the manufacturer relationship. So I guess with Acre you're a little bit different because you do offer a wide range of products and you do have manufacturer relationships as well with some of those products.
I think ultimately what we try to do with our business is we build relationships with the manufacturers, but we continue to be independent. So we offer the customer the choice. So the customer can literally come and buy a basket of goods, which will cover a range of different treatments. And that we don't influence them one way or the other on which products they should have in terms of, it's not driven, there's no commercially driven aspect to it. It's about being independent and offering choice.
So you allow that practitioner to make the choice over which product they want to use without kind of incentivizing them to stay with a particular brand or a particular product.
Exactly. But one of the reasons why we want to work closely with manufacturers, and we do, and we have worked very hard on that in the last few years, is that practitioners can only make choices if they have the information. So working with the manufacturer means that you get access to the rep, even though you may buy from us. The rep still recognise that you're a customer of the brand. The rep then will do educational, open up educational opportunities. Medical education is something we are passionate about. So I think it's important for our pharmacy to build those relationships with manufacturers so that our customers have access to the information they need so they can make an informed choice. That's really what drives it from our point of view.
So you can kind of step away from, I don't know, let's say you've gone and done training somewhere and they use a specific product and they've taught you that you can buy this product from and you can kind of step away from, you have to use that product. You can't step out of that box and you can make your own informed decision based on, actual practicalities of use, and kind of opening up your mind to the full world of aesthetics rather than just this one product.
So I think people should be independent minded. They should think about what's right for me, what do I want to do, and I think it's important that you educate yourself and you know what you're doing and why you're using a product. So I don't think you should necessarily just change because you want to. Ultimately I think it's about finding out the information. But the independent part, I think, is really important because it is your business, and you have to make decisions and you have to stand by the decisions you make. But the best way to do that is to get as much good information as possible so that you're making good choices for you.
That can be hard in aesthetics because it is so commercially bought sometimes. So it's hard to trust whether somebody is talking about a product in a positive way because they've been commercially bought or whether they actually really mean it and that product is really great, and it's hard to
One of the major
difference.
advantages we've seen in our business because of how our business is structured independently is that people come to us because they have choice. So we don't limit what they can have access to, and although we work more closely with some manufacturers than others, it's more on just the collaboration. It's not we're not beholden to that relationship. It's about offering the customer choice. So that's been really helpful to our business, but I think it's more importantly, it's more helpful to our customers who don't feel that they have to stick with a brand or another, they can make an informed choice.
I mean, we've talked about this in one of our other podcasts. We alluded to the benefits of working with one brand or multiple brands.
Having like loads in your
Absolutely.
toolbox.
And I think for me, as a business owner with multiple practitioners, it can become quite stressful. I mean, we are, it's not a secret that we're a Teoxane only clinic. That was my choice. And that was it. But going back 5 years prior, where every practitioner used a different brand, that was a nightmare for me to manage stock. And it was also a nightmare because at one point I was ordering that stock from 2 to 3 different pharmacies because one pharmacy wouldn't stock the other. Now, ultimately, if that was the situation I was in, so if anyone listening is a clinic with multiple practitioners and they are ordering multiple, is that they're probably still facing that battle, that they have to buy it from different pharmacies. So knowing that there is a pharmacy there that has that independence, that can provide that full repertoire of choice is really important, especially if you're the idiot who has to order it all. It's hard work.
Yeah, it is hard.
It's hard work. And it's hard to manage that,
But these businesses are growing.
Absolutely.
And the industry's growing, so it's becoming more of an issue. If you have to manage multiple brands across your clinic and buy them from multiple sources, that becomes a buying job. It's a job in itself. Some businesses will have buyers. In traditional pharmacy, which is where I'm from, most of the groups, all the big groups, have buyers, and all they do all day, every day, is consolidate the buying and look at where they can buy at the best advantage. So it makes perfect sense as aesthetics grows that you look at your clinic and you look at the range of products, and rather than streamline to one product where your life would be very easy, what you should really do is open your eyes to a wider market where you've got independent supply of a range of products, and then you can maybe negotiate a deal that works for you across all of those products instead of deal by deal basis with the manufacturer.
So you mentioned obviously brand partnerships there, and you alluded to the benefits being that rep support and training. So what because I know a lot of people will know Acre already, and they'll see that you've got partnerships established there. So what are the benefits for the practitioner working with someone what I'm trying to get at, I suppose, is if you haven't got that partnership, does that ultimately mean that product's bad?
No, I think ultimately what a pharmacy should be trying to do is facilitate for its customers. And the way we work is we want to give our customers the right choice. We want to give them the best choice of a range of products, different price points. But we also don't want them to suffer by not buying directly from the manufacturer. So we work with the manufacturers so that there's a relationship there, a strong relationship, an open dialogue at all times. All manufacturers that we work with have been to our facility. They've seen what we do and how we handle product, and they're all comfortable with what we do. So that then gives us that opportunity to say to your clinic, if you buy from us, you have manufacturer support, but you have the choice to buy across the range that's available. I think that's really important.
No, it is.
I think it's important as well that you haven't, because it's like anything, if you take a drug, you might not get along with that drug, but you might get along with that drug. And it's kind of recognising that the exact same thing can happen
One
in
size doesn't
aesthetics.
fit all.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And I think you'd be silly to not realise that. So
You mentioned ages ago in one of our podcasts about the benefits. Sometimes it's hard for the early beginner to access the perks because of other pharmacies sometimes offering for the particular brands, buy 10 boxes, get 5 free. And you've alluded that sometimes that's an impossible feat, haven't you?
Yeah, no, exactly. When you first start out, you do not have all the money in the world to make use of those, these massive orders to get these great perks and all these free things.
Well, Grace and I were talking on the train on the way here, and exactly the same
and you can see
conversation.
these people, they're doing amazingly, and I'm not trying to take that away from them. I think that's incredible. But I do think sometimes, like Acre Pharmacy does do some great offers for those that maybe don't have the same capability with buying power. Yeah.
We were talking about on the train how people that are starting out in aesthetics are almost getting outpriced out of the industry because they don't get offered the perks if they only buy 1 or 2 products. So they're paying the full price, and then they can't they can't get models in because they're paying such an expensive price, that maybe fully fledged clinics that are not doing models are cheaper than them, and that they end up in a bit of a vicious circle, that they don't have customers because they can't get cheaper products and they can't have a model rate to kind of get experience. But I think the difference with Acre is, Bob was saying, that you give good prices regardless of whether somebody buys one. They don't have to buy 10 to get the best price. I think you've priced yourself quite competitively for people.
Well, I think in fairness to the industry, I think the aesthetics pharmacy market's very competitive.
Yeah.
So therefore, you do your homework.
Yeah.
And
Key word there, do your homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have a price per pack policy, but ultimately means that we believe that if you shop with us, you've got some confidence that you're not paying over the odds. You're getting the product for a competitive price. But that's, in fairness to the industry, it's a competitive industry. So we keep each other honest, I think, across the pharmacies.
Yeah.
I think sometimes, though, other pharmacies can entice people by saying you can get this price if you buy 10, and then maybe that's where people get caught up because they buy 10 to get the best
Sat
price.
on the shelf.
And then it sits on the shelf.
Yeah.
Or they're incentivized to create packages to get
big
rid
filler
of that
packages.
stock.
Yeah.
And then ultimately they're treating patients based on the idea of getting rid of that stock on my shelf,
Not that
rather
they
than
need it.
that patient needing that treatment or not. And I think, as we've got to consider that for a lot of people, they, especially when they're starting out, spending 2, 3, 4,000 on filler is monumental.
But I think as well as a
Monumental.
pharmacy, you've also recognised that, and you've looked at other options that people can offer. It's not just about dermal fillers. The industry is changing, like we've already said. So I think, as a pharmacy, you have kind of endeavoured to realise that, and also kind of train with that as well, how the industry is changing. I'm going to say training again.
Absolutely. I think the future is in other areas, and I think the industry is recognising that. And we try to make sure that we've got our finger on the pulse from that point of view. But in terms of pricing, we do have a per pack pricing policy, which basically we believe will support people who are new in the industry, who maybe can't afford to tie up the cash.
I think people feel awkward as well. I know I've felt awkward. I'm not the most business. Oh, I am a business. I'm not going to take myself. I'm a good businesswoman, but I'm not. I don't know. I struggle with confrontation and things like that. I'm different to other people.
Different.
But there's nothing wrong with that. That's what makes you amazing.
But I think people will struggle with that because it's a completely different industry. Most of us would have been in the NHS, and you don't ever have to say, well, I'm not paying that. I'm paying this.
But let's be honest. Let's be honest. Do you really need the hassle in your life? What really should be happening is you should be able to go to someone you trust, buy with confidence, place your orders without having to think, right, I need to check 6 other pharmacies to see whether I'm saving a pound here or not. You should be able to trust that you're buying in a competitive market and you're not, and the price is fair. And I think that's what our ultimate goal is so that someone shops with us. We won't be the cheapest on everything, but over the basket, it's very well priced in terms of it's competitive. And ultimately what we want people to do is to trust us. So you have to get to know us. And I think again that comes down to do your homework, realise who you're buying from, make sure, first part is trust the products you're buying, who you're buying it from, and ultimately the competitive market should take care of the pricing. I don't think people really want to have confrontation every time they're buying a box of filler.
No.
So logic is, at least, there's nothing wrong to finish on. There's nothing wrong with brand partnerships. There are perks there. And you should, if you are working with a particular brand or one product, then at least then you can get the benefits. You're not losing the benefits by buying directly from yourselves. But obviously, ultimately, if you want that choice, work with a pharmacy that provides that choice.
Absolutely, and I think this isn't just about me and our business. I think it's important that you research the choices out there and look for a pharmacy that is keen to build relationships with manufacturers, because it's really valuable. I think it's really important, especially to new people in the industry, to have access to everything that's available. And I think there are maybe suggestions that if you go down a certain path, it cuts out access to other things. But I think maybe if you've got a pharmacy that's got an independent choice available, but access to the manufacturers. I would suggest that's the best of both worlds.